And see if I can grab a little pencil and just do a quick little drawing here. So, you know, up to you if you want to do a drawing or not, but I'm going to just take it and leave it as a little bit of a guide. And what we're going to do is just take the colors that we just used and then begin to just do a little bit of a master copy so that we can see if how we can control it and keep it, you know, just a little vignette, something that's not too, like, not a whole painting. So, and it doesn't have to be like a perfect copy. I don't want you to feel the need to like trace a photo. This is something that, you know, we're gonna take, and you can do these often, and I think what it will do is warm you up to understanding how important it is to get really good at drawing, and then how much pencil is needed underneath. Again, that's up to you. But anyway, the you, you can't get too good at drawing, I should say. Like, drawing is really the crux of everything when it comes to art. And if you can't draw, it will be clear in your work. So just get so freaking good at drawing that you know, you can just get absorbed in the mediums. So anyway, quick little drawing. I love these little vignettes. This is a Dean Cornwell. And Cornwell is just fantastic about like just getting emotion in the body of the person. So you know, Sargent's a fantastic one to do as well, and you can find whatever vignette you want. I'm just going to put some up there, and up to you. You know what, which one you want to use. All right, I'm going to grab my cloth again, and let's just mix it up again. Let's just get back in here. I'm going to just warm up to this and just get my neutral. I'm going to pull my neutral over here. Now, typically, the most watercolorists work from light to dark. So, the beginning, I'm gonna get the kind of silhouette here. So I'm gonna just cover it. Maybe a little bit more water, and I'm gonna just work on getting just the reinforcing the drawing that I just got down. Again, this does not have to be perfect. Right. I get a little bit of the contrast. Get the water to move it. And then as we look, it's like, seems like some of this is like this. I'm going to just take water and go into it to get this almost to paper right there. But I want it to fade to the paper. And you got to be patient with this and think about layering. That's one of the hard things. So I'm going to just get this defined. And the beautiful thing about like this brush even is that it's like a little razor that I can kind of draw with. But you know, the beauty of this is that her face is looking up. So I'm almost going to set this up for later. But if you want to, you can even soften it by just taking water, going right into that. So I'm going to come back into this. Get her nose. And come back over here. Get a little bit more. And I'm mapping over, you know, what I think is going to be like left to paper. Like maybe in here. And then this is just a shape. I mean, beautiful shapes. This comes down. Just pull it now, the whole thing. Pull this. And I'll pull this over. And this is going to be an exercise in patience, because it's going to be that I'm going to let this dry. I'm going to come back into it. And then I'm going to build it darker. So that's where I think the medium differs than like oil, because oil you could kind of try to nail it at the beginning, get it pretty close, and I'm reinforcing the drawing as I go back through it. Even just in something like that, it just feels beautiful. All right, I'm going to pull this down a little bit further. Then this. Let me get some more water. Just get like a faint amount of value on there. It's fascinating when you even study someone like Sargent's watercolors, because Sargent, look at that, if I hit that edge, it's going to soften it. So let the experimenting happen here. But Sargent has these beautiful, he has a little bit of pencil. You can tell that he was confident, but he's still kind of, mapping it out just a little bit. Right, so look at that. It's just kind of like softening together. If you want, you can definitely follow and do the same one that I'm doing. All right, and now I'm just going to grab a little bit more because I really love the silhouetting that's happening. I mean, that's one of the beautiful things about Cornwell. He's just got like this, which is just the picture frame and framing her head. I mean, not only are we doing a bit of a master copy here, we're also studying the composition and the tricks, that he's using. I encourage you to be aware while you're doing this. Study, be consumed, of course, with the medium, but at the same time, pay attention. All right. So this is kind of dry now. That's the beauty of it. And now I'm going to go back in and I'm going to mix with a little bit of ultra. I'm going to go back in with the transparent and then ultra again. Just see if I can get that back to a nice neutral. It's the same thing I do with oil. Like I prefer to mix and remix rather than just, I don't know, have like a mix and I'm just going up and down. Like the dither or the alternating warm cool kind of thing could add a little bit more to it. So and lapis would do here as well, but there we go. Let's go dark. Let's go to remix. And now it's going to add variation to, something that's already down. I'm going to pull over it to then just add a little bit more. It's adding variation to all of this, right? And that's going to dry lighter. We have to remember that. And I'm not like mimetically copying, I'm basing it off here, but I'm also allowing, for a bit of the medium of watercolor to be slightly different. Like an interpretation of this. Go back in, restate some of that. Let's get a little bit more water on that brush. Just soften it. Water is a good way to kind of soften your marks. And if more pigmentation, like the stickiness of the ultra, is a good way to kind of get back in and go like dark, dark. You know. Think of the value hierarchy. You know, what's the darkest? What's the lightest? I almost think of this sometimes as like working with inks. Very similar. Now I'm just gonna water to soften it over the top, and then I also think we're gonna get into brush language and mark making and stuff like that too. But look at, there's a dark mark under the hat right there, and then it comes up there, and then now this is all darker. It just seems like a little bit of an eye right there, and just gotta be careful. There's a desire to kind of draw but that's a whole thing right there. Just soften it. All right. There's more of a sweetness in her face that I just didn't get yet. So we'll see if I can get it. Can't have like little beady eyes. I think that's part of the problem. More water. The thing with this too is that it ends up feeling like you're reacting. I'm gonna just get back in and just soften the edge there, just with water. And on this side, just clean it up a little bit. Push it where I want it to be. All right. Right there, the pit of the neck. All right, I'm gonna leave that for a minute and let it set and be less wet, and then come back, do a little bit more. I always think like a little bit of like dry brush is nice as well. You know, to just kind of offset all the washing. We're going to get into mark making next week. Brush language, considering all that can be done in watercolor, right? Just back to ultra. Bring this up. Payne's Gray is another color too that watercolorists love. And it's one of those, you know, if you don't want to mix it, you could totally go towards like Payne's Gray and just use that for this. Up to you. And then just like come down and then all right. Maybe define the edge a little bit more with the face. Again, I'm kind of fighting the camera at this point. Just getting in here and just getting the edge of that. All right. Blot a little bit. Take a little bit of pigment away. All right, then go back. Again, this doesn't have to be perfect. Keep that in mind. There's no grade that's given. Alright, and then just soften it a little bit just so it doesn't feel like a beady little eye. Or think of like an old angry woman or something for a beady eye. Interesting. Maybe you want to tell a little more of the story too. Pulling this over. And let's add a little more over here. Like, what's the design of it? That's what I always think. Once you're past the mimetic, it's like, what's the art part? Right? That's wet, that edge, so let's see what happens. You bring them together. Probably going to be a little bit of bleeding. You know, and now it's yeah, a nice little painting. So anyway, you go as do these a couple times if you want. You don't have to just get it one time or do it one time. See what it's like to do it a couple times if you need, especially if it's all new. But all right, now I'm gonna see if I can get back in here and kind of carve this. back in here and just pull. Just soften it a little bit with a paper towel. All right, and that's getting better. So let's get back in. That's her hair. And just a little dry brush over the top. Just keeping it black and white. All right, maybe just reinforce a couple more darks and call it a day. This is where I go back towards like pigmentation, like real pigmentation. All right, I think that's enough. You know, clean your brush at the end. One of the last things you want to do is ruin a fantastic brush like a Klinsky Sable. I always shape them back. And then just let this thing dry out. And then if you want, you pull it, but take the reference away too. You'll probably like it a little bit more.